not only that, our guest Kevin Harrington is also on the board of the entrepreneurship program at both USF Tampa and USF St. Pete, right, Kevin?
Absolutely, yes.
Great to have you here. You, sir, known as the king of the infomercial. But your career, and by the way, we'll get into why, but Tampa Bay has become a center for infomercial production.
Yes.
But you've been an entrepreneur all your life. You were born to be, I think, because of your dad, right?
Yes, you know, I tell the quick story. When I was 11 years old, I worked for my father. He was in the restaurant business. And how do you become an assistant chef? Well, I started as a dishwasher, and when the chef didn't show, my dad and I were cooking the steaks and the lobster. So, but I realized I really didn't want to be in the restaurant business. So in college, had my own business and built it.
Yeah, well, you say that like everybody does, right?
Yeah.
You're 19, 20 years old, but tell us how did you lay the groundwork for getting into that business, which was heating and air conditioning?
Yes, well, while I was in high school, I was selling part-time at night for a heating and air conditioning company, and then I said, geez, this is easy. I want to own my own business. So I started my own heating and air conditioning company, then realized that the service angle of that was so cumbersome that I sold the business to one of my employees and ended up getting actually into the business I'm in now, which is the infomercial world. And moved here back in the early 90s in a joint venture with Home Shopping Network. That's what brought me here to Tampa Bay, actually.
But you did your first infomercial you have done some on-camera work, but that's not principally what you do. You're
Right.
always behind the scenes.
Correct.
But the first infomercial was shot in the mid-1980s, is that right?
Yes, correct. And actually, you know, I was sitting at the Philadelphia Home Show watching this guy cut through a Coca-Cola can with a knife set, okay? And
Is this the Ginsu knife?
It was the original Ginsu, which I didn't invent. Someone else, they'd already had the product out, but he'd been selling this for years, cutting through hammerheads, but it was a knife that was indestructible. So a light bulb went off in my head, and I said, why don't we film that and put it up on TV? So that became one of the first big winners that I had, actually.
And you made some connections at that home show, right?
I met Billy Mays at that home show, and this was in Philadelphia. I met Billy Mays, and I said, Billy, he was demonstrating a product. He said, you should be doing infomercials. He's like, what's an infomercial? And I said, okay, well, let me show you. So Billy, God bless him, he passed away a few years ago now, but Billy, we did his first infomercial, and then just his last one right here in Clearwater, Florida, a product called the Dual Saw was Billy's last infomercial. And so I've had the pleasure to work with Tony Little, the fitness guy, and you know, Tony lives here. Forbes Riley is the fitness girl. She does the spin gym. So many people ended up here in Tampa really because of Home Shopping Network. It was people go on the air and sell products, and like they wanted to be close to HSN. So I have to give HSN a lot of credit for bringing a lot of the talent to the table and production people here in Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete.
But we see the half-hour infomercial on other stations. Explain how that works. You have to obviously buy that time to get that program on the air, right?
Correct. So somebody like, you know, we deal with a lot of inventors that come to us with an idea. We license the product, and then we produce the infomercial. Now, after we license the product, we can sell it in all channels of distribution. We can sell it to Home Shopping Network, we can sell it to Walmart, Target, but we also sell it in the infomercial. And the infomercial actually builds the brand. So that's the key driver of building the brand. It's like, you've seen the Snuggie, for example,
yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the Snuggie was a product that, when it hit, it built the brand, and that sold 24 million units in retail, Walmart, Target, all over the place. So TV builds the brand.
I didn't mention the name of your companies. You've been CEO of numerous companies, but one of them is known as AsSeenonTV, Inc., right?
Correct.
And the other is, help me out here.
Well, AsSeenonTV, Inc.
Yes.
is the parent company.
Right.
We're a public company. We trade under the symbol ASTV. And that company owns a subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary called AsSeenonTV.com,
right,
which is the biggest website of everything that you see on TV. So I made an acquisition of that company recently. And we also own TVGoods, which is the infomercial company, wholly owned subsidiary, and just recently announced an acquisition that we're in the middle of right now called ediets.com. So AsSeenonTV Inc., as a public company, is in the business of using TV to build brands and make acquisitions.
And your company was a privately held company until about a year and a half ago.
A couple years ago,
You
yeah.
decided to go public. Why?
Yeah. Well, you know, at the end of the day, I've started, built, sold, started dozens of companies, and I've always used my own capital. And guess what? It's, you know, you can only go so big with your own capital unless you're Donald Trump or Mark Cuban or somebody like that that has billions, okay? And so I wanted to build a big company. So I said, you know what? I ran into the right guys in New York, a company called National Securities, and we raised now, with the last round was over $15 million in capital and altogether over $20 million now. So with a war chest of capital, we can start building more businesses quicker and basically become a bigger business around the world.
But you're now accountable to shareholders where you weren't before, correct?
You know, at the end of the day, absolutely, and that's important. So we have, you know, 5,000 plus shareholders, and that's important that we communicate with them. But as a public company, we have certain responsibilities to, in terms of disclosure. So while there are upsides of being public, where, you know, I'll tell you one of the big advantages is, you know, we can bring on celebrities and mentors and people that we can issue a couple shares of stock where they have a big upside. I mean, if you think of William Shatner and Priceline.com, you know, he made a lot of money becoming a spokesperson for that company. So, and so as a private company, they could have never done what they did there. So that is one of the advantages. At the same time, yes, we do answer to shareholders, but at the end of the day, even small businesses have shareholders that they have to answer to also. So,
sure.
It's a lot of fun, though.
We have a question via Twitter for you. Three Little Birds out in California, that's the handle, wants to know, why are you no longer on Shark Tank on ABC?
Well, we didn't even talk about Shark Tank.
Yeah.
You know, so I did 3 seasons now at Shark Tank, shot about 175 segments. And, you know, it was such a great experience. And from that, I still get thousands of people a year, over almost 1,000 a month, inventors that come to ask me to see if I'm interested in investing in their idea or their product or whatever it may be. But, you know, the challenge is those things take you away. And Shark Tank actually is great a show, and I love the show. What I wanted to do was focus on the public company to be able to make the acquisitions that we wanted to make. Because with Shark Tank, we didn't know what was coming out. And we ended up making deals with companies sometimes that took a lot of time and effort. So it took me away from my day-to-day business, which is building the public company that I now have. So I'm now very focused on building the public company AsSeenonTV Inc. so that we can now build and acquire the companies that we want to acquire, not just something to make just be coming in on the show.
And it wasn't pretend investments. On Shark Tank, when you selected an idea, an entrepreneur to invest in, it was your money you were investing, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
that comes with risk.
It was hardcore millions of dollars of capital that, you know, would go into these companies, absolutely, and definitely very risky.
You love this area quite obviously, and you said, as you said, home shopping kind of made it the mecca for the infomercial, and that's why so many people in your industry are here. Yeah. But you're also invested in the community as a good citizen. I mean, you have your causes you're fond of, and you're involved in those.
Well, you know, I love, for example, in November, the Museum of Fine Arts in St. Pete, they have the first golf, the Art of Golf exhibit is coming to Museum of Fine Arts. So I'm co-chairing with Tim Main from Jable, the golf tournament that we'll do at the Vinoy. And I've done, you know, many charity fundraisers from the hospitals to the museums in town here, but also get very involved in the entrepreneurial programs. You mentioned USF.
Right.
I love working with young entrepreneurs. I co-founded the Entrepreneurs Organization, which is a global organization, but we have a local chapter here, and I participate in speaking and judging and around the world actually with them, as well as locally too. So certainly love Tampa. I owe a lot to HSN for bringing me here, but when you think about it, I can shoot shows. We're in the TV production business as an infomercial company. I can shoot shows year-round outside. We can shoot on the golf course. We can shoot. It's every place is a set for a TV show or a movie type of thing here in Tampa. It's a great place to produce infomercials.
We had Ryan Sullivan on yesterday, who works for you. and he evaluates product for you. That's part
Correct.
of his job, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And here's and he's part of the entrepreneurship program.
That's where I met him, over at USF, yeah.
He did the master's track there, I believe,
Exactly.
right? Here's an astounding number. So we're talking about products. I can't believe this. You have launched 500 products during your career, resulting in $4 billion in sales. Do you sit back and go, wow, that's quite a body of work?
Well, that's over 20 plus years.
Realize
so
that,
but
yeah.
I think what it was is it's meeting the right people. I met Tony Little, and we did the AB isolator and the Tony Little target training and the Gazelle when we first came out with it and things like that. And then I met somebody like Billy Mays. I mean, it was the fun part of my business is dealing with all the celebrities and the talent. And I mean, right now we're involved with 50 Cent. We have a line of headphones that we're selling with 50 Cent. And Montel Williams is one of our other guys that we love to work with. These people are so talented. When we bring them products, they help build these big businesses. And these things become $100 million successes. But that's why we love dealing with inventors, because we match the inventor up with the celebrity, package it all together, and we take all the risk and pay a big royalty back to the inventor. So it's a good business structure for us.
Easier to sell a product when you have a celebrity spokesperson?
In most cases, yes, absolutely. If the celebrity is really in tune with the product. I mean, 50 Cent helped create and invent this headphone that he sells, and Montel gets very, very involved in his products. They don't like to just be spokesperson necessarily for something off the shelf. They really want to believe in it, use it. Montel does something called healthy living, and one of the products we have with him is a humidifier and an air cleaner and a portable heater called the Season Air. It's a 6-in-1, and that product is amazing, and he loves it. He uses it. His family members use it.
They have to believe in it, then.
They have to believe in it, absolutely.
And a lot of actors' personalities they're great in one capacity. They're great in a film, for example, or in a television show when they're given lines. But that doesn't necessarily make them a great salesperson on camera, correct?
We had a lot of big celebrities bomb as spokespeople, okay, and they're off
Can
the
you
list
name them?
now. I won't, because in my book, when I wrote it, they took out some of the names because they didn't want to get in trouble. But I'll tell you, one of them was from Dynasty, and she wasn't a friendly person on that show. So
English accent?
Yes, and so I think you can figure it out. But she couldn't sell it. And she didn't want to. She said, I'm not gonna go there in terms of selling the product. I'm just here to host. But that was the old days. We learned the hard way. We're not in business just to put somebody's name on a product. We want them vested, and we want them loving the product. And actually, they become partners in each project with us in how we structure our relationships.
The change I've noticed with regard to infomercials is you see fewer half-hour programs, or is that my imagination, and more long-form commercials. That is to say, the 2-minute infomercial.
Both sides work very well. Short form is the reason you see a lot of that is because it's during the main day parts, because you can fit it inside the Oprah Winfrey Show or whatever the news might be. 30 minutes typically run late night or on the weekends.
Sunday morning or something
mornings,
like that.
Weekend morning. So they both run in the same amount, really, in similar tracks. But some people think short form is more popular because you see it more often because it's in the shows that you might be watching.
You measure audience not by ratings, I'm guessing, but by response.
Just by
This
sales.
is called direct response.
Direct response.
television.
If I spend $10,000 for a time slot, I want to see $20,000, $30,000 in credit card orders.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we track the business, and that's what makes it such a fun business, because we can spend $10,000, $100,000 a week and know scientifically what to expect from those sales in that week. It's a predictable business.
And are some products available both online and in retail stores?
Yes, we start with TV. We also have the AsSeenonTV.com website where we have 1,500 plus products. But then as we build the brand and we get millions of dollars in advertising, then we start putting them into Walmart, Target, Kmart, all the retailers.
As the brand builds.
As the brand builds, absolutely. So yeah, you'll see it, a Montel Williams product, there it is, as seen on TV. That's us right in that retail store.
Okay. Kevin Harrington, fascinating conversation. I appreciate you being here.
Hey,
thanks
for
very
having me,
much.
Frank.
All right,
Great
take
to see
care.
you.
All right, next on Front Row Tampa Bay, one of the premier attractions, a Center for Marine Science. Let's, first of all, take a break.